Welcome to the Hawthorn Cottage Craft podcast. Today is Saturday the 6th of February 2021 and this is episode 42. I'm Kate. You can find me on Instagram as Kate_Hawthorn Cottage Craft, on Ravelry as a runner bean, and we have a Ravelry group for the podcast which is Hawthorn Cottage Craft Podcast. I've also got a Ko-fi account where you can help support the podcast if you so wish, and all the links for all the places that you can find me are in the description box below. You're very welcome. I hope you have your cuppa with you today as we chat about our knitting. It's lovely to see you here. If you're new, you're very welcome. I hope you enjoy what you see, and if you're a returning viewer, you're more than welcome back. On that note, all I can say is thank you to everyone who has subscribed to the podcast. We are 5 years old now. We've hit our 5th anniversary, I think it was last week. And as I said, I can't thank you enough for your support over the years. Today I want to express my thanks with a giveaway. I had planned to do this because over Christmas, or just past Christmas, we hit the 5,000 subscriber mark, and that just blows me away. I'm overwhelmed by the amount of support that I've got, and I wanted to combine the 5,000 giveaway with the 5th anniversary, but it's actually quite exciting because it's no longer the 5,000 subscriber giveaway. It is now pretty much the 6,000 subscriber giveaway, because we're just a few subscribers short of 6,000, and the fact that you show up here and support me, and we have just built this community that it just means the world. So I want to give back a little bit, and I wanted to do a little giveaway to express my thanks. So what I want you to do is I want you to comment below this video and tell me what your dream knitting or crochet project is. My dream project, I would love to be able to knit colour work or Fair Isle well and create some beautiful pieces of Fair Isle knitwear. Or I would love to be able to design my own garment, probably quite Irish inspired with cables and things, but I don't have the first clue where to start designing a project. Apart from the ideas, I've never constructed my own garment before. So those are my dream projects. What are your dream projects? Is it a particular thing that you'd like to knit or design or create? Now, obviously I want you to comment, but there has to be an incentive to comment, and the incentive is the beautiful prizes that I've collected for this giveaway, and I am more than happy to be giving these to you as a thanks for supporting me. The prizes that I have for this giveaway are just a support for Northern Ireland Irish dyers. This time we have a wealth of really talented people here, and I wanted to show them off and give to you an example of their work. So the prize pile, I am going to give away 6 prizes now that we've hit this pretty much the 6k mark. I want to give away 6 prizes. So these are the prizes that are on offer. There's this beautiful skein of yarn from Giddy Ant Yarns, and they are based in Belfast, I think. I think it's Belfast they're based in. And this, when this arrived, these have been donated by the dyers, and I am very, very thankful for that. This was so tempting, mainly because the colours are they're almost autumnal, which I love, and the name of the yarn is Woodstock, which is a place that I love. So this is their Corriedale sock, and it's 100% Corriedale, 400 meters of yarn. So we have this, and another great dyer who is in Bangor, which is just across the loch from me, you can kind of see it across the loch, is Irish Artisan Yarns, and their yarns are based on place names around Ireland. And they have donated this beautiful skein, and it's 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon sock yarn, and it's called Galway. And look at those greens. And coming into possibly the start of March now and St. Patrick's Day, these colours are beautiful. And Yo Mama and Tracy is based in Enniskillen and Fermanagh, County Fermanagh, near my home area. And this is a beautiful, it's called Ship of Fools is the colourway. Ultimate sock, and it's 75% superwash blue face Leicester, 25% nylon. Look at those colours. That's Yo Mama. And I'm going to link all the shops, all these dyers below. Woolly Adventures is based in a little place called Cullybackey, which is very close to me here. And this is their super sock, superwash merino nylon, and it's called Secret Lagoon. And you can see why, all these beautiful shades of blue. And they had also included a little thing of stitch markers, the little light bulb stitch markers, that's part of that one. And this is some fine fish yarns that I had in stash. I have a lot of fine fish yarns in stash. There's no colourway for this, but look at that. And Terry from Fine Fish Yarns was one of the first indie dyers I bought from, and she's very local to me. So we have, for the prizes, 5 skeins. There will be 5 winners of some Northern Ireland yarn. And the other 6th prize is, in a past life I made project bags. I still make them for fun for myself, but I no longer have a shop. But I had some fabric that I've had for a long time that I'd wanted to make a bag for myself, and I did make one of these for myself. There was enough for 2. So I have made this little sock bag. It's a drawstring and it's got canvas bottom and then just white interior, so that you can see what you've got in there. So there's this little bag and a set of sock needles. Now I've got 2.5mm because that's what I use. They're Addi bamboo, so whoever wins this, or olive, they're actually olive wood. Whoever wins this, I'd love to find out what you think of these, because I haven't used these before. And if you watched last week, I did a new segment called Coffee with Kate, and I reviewed needles, and this wasn't in the review, but I would love to hear what whoever knits with these things. So that is the prize bundle. Try and hold them all up for the giveaway. So there will be 6 winners. It's open until the first podcast in March, so that will probably be around the 5th or the 6th of March. And I'll draw for a winner, random number generator for YouTube comments. So as I said, I kind of did that a bit backwards, but please leave a comment underneath, and you can comment or you can write down what your favourite or possible knitting favourite, get my words here, what's your dream knitting project or crochet project, it doesn't matter which, and we'll draw for a prize. As I said, thank you so much for all your support over the years, and thank you for subscribing. And if you haven't subscribed, subscribe below, hit the subscribe button and the like button and all that kind of thing. But thank you so much for everyone who has done so already. If we ever move up, there'll have to be an absolutely major prize for that. but I'm really, really pleased with what we have, and thank you so much. So, with all that, get another drink of coffee. I mentioned there the little segment last week, the Coffee with Kate. Thank you for all the comments and the support for that. I did a little needle review. I'm hoping to do a Coffee with Kate every other week, kind of do this kind of format once a fortnight, and then do the Coffee with Kate, which is a shorter segment in between. It'll not always be reviews. There'll be some reviews in there of yarn or maybe what I'm working on at that particular time, just a little short segment, or it might just be like a vlog or a chat. But thank you so much for the support that has been there. If you have anything that you would like to see in that little part, that little Coffee with Kate, let me know. You can send me messages or comment below the video here or in the Coffee with Kate video. And I'll see what I can do. I can't promise I'll do them all, but I will try my best and see what I can do. Hopefully there'll be more scenery from round and about as we open up again from lockdown, but that doesn't look to be happening anytime soon. So everything's pretty much home based at the minute, but hopefully there'll be more scenes of my surrounding area as the year goes on. But today, what have I been doing? Well, I've been quite busy over the last 2 weeks, and I have a few FOs to show you, a few finished objects that I am really excited about. The first one is part of the Lucky Dip KAL that we are running here in the podcast, on the podcast and in the group. The Lucky Dip KAL has been running since the beginning of the year and is running until the 31st of December. I had picked 12 random skeins from my yarn. I put them in little bags so I don't know what's in what bag, and then I draw each month for a new skein of yarn that's no more than 100 grams. All the details are in the episode that I talked about and introduced these knit alongs, and I'll link that up here if you want to go back and see that, or they're in the Ravelry group for the different threads, so that I'm not going over it all again, but you'll find all the details in those places. It's a knit along, crochet along, and the one thing I do want to say first before I show you my finished object is that the first prize will be drawn at the end of March. There'll be prizes drawn at the end of each quarter, and then at the end of the year there will be a grand prize that encompasses the whole year. But the first prize is going to be drawn at the end of March, and if you just hold 1 second till I get it. So this is the prize that will be on offer at the end of March. I spotted this in the Lay Family Yarn shop and I thought it was absolutely stunning, and I'm hoping she dyes it again because I want to get a skein for myself. But this is absolutely beautiful. It is called Succulent Garden, and I thought for the spring and summer the colours were stunning. It's superwash merino nylon, sock yarn, and a little mini for heels, cuffs and toes, and that colour is in there. This is stunning yarn. So this is what is the prize for the first quarter, and anybody who has knit, you can have up to 3 entries per quarter. Obviously you don't have to enter every month, but you can have up to 3 chances to win, and I draw for this on the 31st of March, and very excited to share this with you. Obviously I can't be a part of the draw, but I have finished my first object, and this is it. I drew this one out. The contrast colours, I have a little bag, I think you can see it down there, and it's full of little ends of balls from other projects, and I use those now for contrast heels, cuffs and toes. But I pulled this one from the main set of 12 bags, and it's Townhouse Yarns Clarendon Sock. She hasn't dyed this one in a while, although I think seeing this she said that she might think about it. It's 80% merino, 10% cashmere and 10% nylon, so it's absolutely beautiful. I don't know if I'd said the last time, it was yarn when I was knitting with it, I'd thought it would have felt softer when I was actually knitting with it because of the cashmere element in it. And I'd felt it almost like cotton feel when I was knitting. But now that they're blocked and I soaked them and blocked them, you can feel the cashmere. They are so soft. Completely different feel to when they were knitting up. So if you're using that base, it definitely softens with soaking. Maybe that's just my take on it. Maybe nobody else has experienced that, but I love the way it has turned out. The colourway was dark blue Flash Dance, and I called these my 80s throwback socks because of these flashes of neon colours. Those were just such 80s colours. We quite liked our bright colours then. So I really like, and I love the way the stripe has come out, and particularly with doing the heels, doing the heel flap and gusset, I have a little spot here where it kind of pulls, and this one it's here, and I quite like that. That doesn't bother me in the slightest. So it's a vanilla sock, and I have put the recipe or kind of how I knit my vanilla socks in the notes on the project page on Ravelry. I do have this on Ravelry, and you'll see how I knit my socks there. It's a 2.5mm needle is my needle. You use the needle to suit your gauge. 2.5mm US 1.5, and I cast on 64 stitches. I have a 2x2 rib. You can see that. And then it's a plain vanilla sock. For the length of my leg, I do about 45 rows of knitting, but that's whatever length of leg you want. Then I do the heel flap and gusset, and in this I use the contrast, and this is Dublin Dye, who's no longer dyeing, which is unfortunate. But this is her colour, and I'd used this in a shawl a few years ago. Heel flap and gusset, and I say in the notes how I do that. And then my foot, I have quite a small foot, so I do, I think it's about 42, 43 rows in my foot before I do the rounded toe. So my vanilla socks, my first lucky Dip KAL, and I'm really enjoying this because it is making me use deep stash, and this is deep stash. And they've turned out really well, and now that I've shown them, I can actually wear them because I try to keep them pristine before you see them. So that is my lucky Dip KAL, and it's been lovely seeing the entries and the hashtag being used on Instagram and seeing what you're producing for that. It's fun to see all the projects and the excitement everybody's getting from opening their little packages. It really is like getting a present at the start of every month, even though it's been here and in the house. I can't remember what I've got, and there's the excitement of opening the little parcel and how people have been packaging their parcels. Even that, I mean, mine, they're in little paper bags, which is pretty. Mine are just stapled and put in a basket. Some people have created beautiful packages, and it's just been really fun to see what everyone's doing. So if you have a finished object for that thread, thread and KAL, nip over to Ravelry and put a picture in the thread, is what I was trying to say. It's Saturday morning and not enough coffee by the sounds of it. So the next finished object. I'm so excited. The family is growing. There's a new addition. My family of Felix. I finished my Felix cardigan. This was my aim to finish it by the end of January, which I did. I entered it into the Frogger Finish make along that Chelsea from Legacy and Chelsea Makes was running, but I'd wanted, this was on my to-do list to finish for the end of January anyway, because I'd started it I think in October, and then I'd set it aside over Christmas, but I wanted to get it finished. I love this. It's the Felix Cardigan by Amy Christoffers, who is Savoury Knitting on Instagram. And the yarn that I used was Adele McBride, who's Knitfield Ireland, and it was her mohair merino mix. It's an Aran weight cardigan. It has the look and feel to an extent of Donegal Aran, but it's softer because of the merino nylon, and the drape in this is just beautiful. I love this cardigan. It was not too difficult for me to knit because, as I said, it has joined the family, and this was the Felix sweater that I had knit last year, and again it was Adele McBride, but it was the Donegal Aran wool, which has more the feel of Donegal Aran, but it's still very soft, and it was her sleeve league colourway. And I loved that so much that I wanted the cardigan, and there will be more Felix in the future. I think I want one in every colour of the rainbow because I love it so much. But this particular one, her colourway is emerald. What could be more fitting? And it's a beautiful, beautiful. I love this detail in the pattern, and the yarn really shows it up. Let's see the Felix kind of pattern. I knit this on 5mm, which is US 8, and 6mm, which is a US 10, I think, yeah, yarn. And it used 280 grams when I weighed it out. So it really doesn't use very much yarn at all. I like the sweater. I do love the cardigan. I think the sweater is my favourite of the two, although I love this, only because I don't like picking up button bands, and that is the only reason. I love them both. I had to decide what buttons to put on, and I bought my buttons from the Textile Garden, and I bought 2 sets because I couldn't make up my mind, and I put up a poll on Instagram to choose, and it was a darker button or this particular button, and obviously this one won. It's funny, I hankered slightly after the darker one but couldn't really make up my mind, and it was 50-50 for a long time, and then this one crept into the lead. So I thought, well, I have to honour the poll and the majority vote, so this is the one I went for, and it's almost like a gingery colour, and I think it really sets off the cardigan really, really well. So I can't wait to get this into proper rotation now and worn. There's more of this yarn on Adele's website, and I'll link that below. So if you're looking for some beautiful Donegal spun and dyed and Donegal yarn, this is definitely one to go for. So I'm thrilled with that, and as I said, it has joined the Felix family, and I'll be able to wear these now much more often. And I suppose the joy is that even into the spring and slightly warmer weather, I can wear the cardigan maybe more than the sweater. So I'm very, very pleased with that finished object. And the other finished object, it is a day of finished objects. The other one I hadn't even started or thought about the last time I spoke to you. It was my birthday last week, and I wanted a birthday cast on, and I had just finished, I'd finished these on the Thursday. My birthday was on the Friday, and I wanted a cast on for that day, and that would also tide me over until the following Monday when I could draw again for the lucky Dip KAL. And I had been watching Hohi Locatelli's journal on YouTube here, and she talked about this shawl. I'm not sure when she did, but she had designed what she called the Hipster Shawl at some time, and she decided to design the lightweight hipster, and I'll put a picture of the pattern here. And this is my version. So the colours are actually quite similar to hers. So it's a fingering weight shawl. It's meant to use one skein. For me, as you can see, I had to go into a second one. But it really didn't use very much of the second one. It's special for me. I wanted to cast this on my birthday, but I also then, because of that, wanted to use yarn that was special and that would help move the stash down a wee bit too. And this is probably one of the most special yarns I had in my stash. This is yarn that I dyed myself. Well, when I say myself, I was under extreme supervision. A number of years ago, a group of friends came to stay with me, and we had the weekend together knitting, and we also had an afternoon with Terry of Fine Fish Yarns, who was part of the group, and she showed us how to dye yarn, and this was my result. I based this on a photograph I have, and if I can find it, I'll insert it here. And it's of the rocks and the sea in my favourite place that you've heard me talk about many times, called Portmuck. And it's just the rocks and the colour of the lichen, the yellow lichen on the rocks, and the waves, and I just love the colours in this. And I have kept this since, I think, was it 2017 or 2016? 2017 possibly. I can't remember, but it's as far back as then that I dyed this, so I've kept it and never been sure what to use it for. I wanted something that was special, and this felt like the right project. As I said, it's meant to be a one skein project, and certainly in the pattern it says fingering weight 366 meters, which this was. Maybe it's my gauge. I didn't really check gauge because it was a shawl. It's knit in a 4.5 millimeter, which is a US 7 needle. Sorry, there might be a cut there. The joy of recording when there's other people in the house. There was noise. What was I saying? Yes, this was knit in a 4.5 millimeter, which is a US 7 needle. And certainly the skein that I had wasn't going to knit the entire shawl. This is quite a heavy fingering weight. It was quite plump. And I did a little dive into ends of balls that I have, and I couldn't believe that I had this one. And this was yarn that I used. I had knit the Addi t-shirt a couple of years ago, last year, 2 years ago, and I'd used this yarn, and it's from Moon and Sixpence, and I'll link it below. And I had just a little bit left. So it's a lighter fingering. It's definitely lighter than this one, but that didn't really matter. I was trying to channel my inner Stephen West. I haven't knit any Stephen West, I don't think, but a couple of years ago at Woolen Yarn Festival, I met him with my son James, and who was starting to knit at the time, and he had said to James, knit with any weight of yarn, any colours, there are no rules, you can mix and match weights. And that was going through my head. Even though they're both fingering weight, there is a slight difference, but that was going through my head when I started to add this. Doesn't matter what weights they are, it still looks pretty. And the colours, it's really hard because of the light coming through it, but you can see that the colours blend in really, really well, because this blue even has flecks of black, which are echoed in this one. So it tied in really well, and I was able to do the tassels then with, I had very, very little of this left, but I was able to put at least a bit of the colour into the tassels, alternate tassels, and use that. So there isn't a piece of this yarn left, which is really, really good. I've now finished up 2 skeins of yarn completely, which is, I don't like wasting them, and they can sit for a long, long time not being used. So this is a beautiful pattern. It was really, really quick to knit. The majority of it is garter stitch, just backwards and forwards. And then there's this unusual stitch here, which is all about yarn overs and drops stitches, and I think it's called the Indian cross stitch is that's what I found on Google when I looked for the name of this stitch to learn how to do it properly. So I'm really, really thrilled with this shawl. It's very lightweight. It's just nice, even in the house, for wearing if it's a wee bit chilly, but I don't want anything big and bulky on. And I'm not normally a tassel girl, and they're very small tassels. So this really, really is something I'm very, very happy with. And I started on Friday, probably knitted exclusively over the weekend and finished it near the beginning of this week, and then was able to get it blocked really quickly. And because it's light, it dried quickly because it's so cold and damp here that drying can take a while, but this dried incredibly quickly. So if you want a fast project and something to use up those single skeins, probably 400 meters. I would say a 400 meter skein maybe, rather than, again, it depends on your gauge, but it certainly would be more a 400 meter skein for me. So those are my finished objects. Works in progress. What am I working on? Well, I finished my socks, so Monday was the 1st of February, so I had to draw for the next month of my lucky Dip KAL. And this time the yarn that came out, I always get James to pull the prize, or pull the bag out of the basket. And this is what came out this month. So this is Opal yarn, and it's from their range Moments of Joy, and I'm not sure how available this range is anymore. Again, this was stash that I had, and what I'm enjoying about this is that my projects will be a mix of indie yarn and the bigger box store, bigger brands that are less expensive but particularly hard wearing. And I like Opal yarn because of that. It is a hard wearing yarn. It's 75% wool and 25% nylon, and the colorway for this is 9082. They give numbers. As I said, I'm not sure how available this is, but maybe if you do a bit of searching, anywhere I've looked it's out of stock. I think this range is gone now, but you can check. It might be somewhere eBay or someplace may still carry it. So what to do with this? What was I going to cast on? I had considered socks again, because that is my usual go-to quick, it's my morning project. But this time I decided to go for something different. Sue, who is Crafty Knitter 7 on Instagram and who is part of the Distant Stitches podcast, sent me a pattern. And the pattern is, and I'll insert a photograph of it, it's the Dream Fingerless Mittens pattern by Marcia Healy. Who is very little on Instagram and on YouTube. And I don't possess mittens of any description. I don't wear them usually. It's the one accessory I don't have. But it's a bit mad because I want to get out and walk and it is cold, so I do need a pair of mittens, and I'm usually have my hands driven into my pockets. So I thought this would be it just came at the right time to try this pattern out, and I thought it's almost like knitting socks. So this is my morning project, and this is where I have got to so far. So it's almost like knitting the rib of the sock. And that's the interesting thing about this. The rib of the sock's my least favourite part of the sock. But ribbing is a big design component of this particular pattern. And I'm quite enjoying it. Who knew? So this is how far I've got. I'm knitting this. The recommended needle is a 2mm, which is a US 0. Because I think that's what Marcia knits her socks on. And I find those too small for me. So I'm knitting mine on my 2.5mm sock needles, my US 1.5s. But what I decided to do, because with a mitten I want negative ease, I don't want it to be loose, or too loose on me, I'm doing the smallest stitch count. So I'm doing 56 stitches rather than 64. It's almost the same count at that stage as a sock. And I can put this little bit on. And I think that, I mean, there's bracelet under there, but that is just a nice fit. It's not too tight, but it's snug around my wrist. So it's working out well. I'm getting to the thumb part. I'm not, obviously, I think I've knit one mitten before. I didn't even knit the second one. This is my past mitten knitting, and I really should try and knit the other one of those. So I've done a thumb, but I think the construction of the thumb in this is going to be slightly different. I think it's all to do with the ribbing. I'm not sure if there's increases the way it is. I don't want to talk too much about the detail of the pattern because it was a paid for pattern. I got it as a gift, but it is a paid for pattern. So it'll be interesting to see how that shapes up. I like the fact that you knit it longer than your hand and then you can fold it back. So it's giving double the warmth, and it's the same on the thumb. So you can have it, if it's really cold, you can pull them up a bit or you can pull them back a bit. So this is where I'm at. And hopefully by the next time you see this, I'll have at least this one finished or be well up the hand of it so that I can get the pair done. I'm on, obviously we've only started, I'm on track. I got my first thing done in January and I would like to finish this in February so that I don't start to slip behind myself. Wouldn't look good as the host of the KAL. But that is where I'm at, and I'm really, really enjoying it, and I love the colours. Lovely earthy colours. So that is the Dream Fingerless Mittens. Check it out. I know if you check out Marcia, I'll give the Ravelry link because that's the one I know, but she also has it available in other areas if you can't use Ravelry. I'm aware that not everyone's using Ravelry at the moment. It's where I use, but she has links there to other places it can be found, and she has a website that'll bring you there as well. So I worked on that, and I also worked on my Imogen tee for the Knitting the Books KAL. But I have to say I haven't done very much on it because I got carried away with the shawl. The Knitting the Books KAL is running from the 1st of January. It started and it's running to the end of March. And it's where you get a book off your shelf and knit a pattern out of that, or an ebook magazine, something that you've had for a while that maybe you haven't really knit from yet. So that is running really well, and it's really, really good fun to see. There are finished objects already in the threads, and there's a lot of chatter going on. Although I might not take part in chatter, I do read it all, and I do look at all the finished objects, and hopefully I've hearted them all to show that I've seen them. But the Knitting the Books KAL is going on really well, and I want to show you now the prizes that are going to be there for this KAL as well. There's a lot of prizes today, but it's really fun to be able to show them. I had put out a call that if anybody would like to donate, and that call is still there. If you'd like to donate prizes to any of the knit-alongs, please feel free to do so. I'd love to showcase your work, and it's just been exciting seeing the things coming in, and then I can show them off. So what I have for, these are just stunning. These are just lovely. The prizes, there are going to be 2 prizes for the Knitting the Books KAL. And the first one is a combination of a bag and yarn. I, before Christmas, treated myself, and I'll show you mine, I treated myself to a Harriet Wild in the Woods bag. And I love these because they're made from tweed, and then they've really lovely designs on them. And I love my bag. I bought this before Christmas. You can find Harriet on Instagram, and I'll link her below. So this was my bag, and I'd spoken to her, and she very kindly donated a bag to the Knit-along. And this is it. Isn't that just gorgeous? The Highland cows. There's tweed, which I think is Harris tweed. Yeah, it's Harris tweed. And she's lined the bags beautifully with this Scottish thistle. And the colours are lovely. They're very spring-like. So there's this. So thank you very much, Harriet, for donating that. And one of our viewers, Susan, I hope you don't mind me putting your name out there, Rob Roy Susan on Ravelry, donated some yarn. She had some yarn from Bear and Sheep's Clothing, and she donated that to the podcast for the KAL. And I think these colours tie in really well. It's a lovely wee set. So this is Bear and Sheep's Clothing, and Bernie is a local dyer to me too. She is living in Bangor, just across the water. And this is her superwash Blueface Leicester, 100%. Bare sturdy. There's 385 metres in here. Cognac is the colourway. So this is one of the prizes for the Knitting the Books KAL. And the other one, just want to set them aside carefully. And I'm not going to take this out of the package. But this is a bag from Bead Sisters and yarn from Blueberry Chick Yarns. So it's Bead Sisters. And you can find those on Instagram, and I'll do all the links again below. And she has very kindly donated a few bags for the podcast. And I have this little one here that I'm going to put my spring project into. And the yarn, which is the same yarn as this, are these lovely colours. So this is the other prize for the Knitting the Books KAL, and I think those are fabulous. So make sure if you're taking part in the Knit-along that you get your pictures into the finished objects thread so that you're in with a chance of winning one of these. So those are the prizes, and that's the Knitting the Books KAL. You're knitting a project, and the project that I'm knitting, as I've said before, is from the Matter Anthology 1 book that I have up here, and it's designed by Carrie Bostic Hogan. I'll just put in a little picture of it here. As I said the last time, with lace I need to put in a lifeline because I'm really concerned about making a mistake. So you'll see from the lifeline exactly how much I've done since the last time I showed it to you. 2 rows. So this is my project for the next week. I am planning to work solidly on this and work on my mittens in the morning, but this is going to be my main knitting project because I really do want to keep going with this. And we can't see the lace because of the light, and it's all up, but it's a beautiful pattern. I'm knitting this in Roots and Rain yarn. It's this colourway, which is dyed with black walnut, lac and cochineal, and it's a sport weight yarn all the way from Ottawa. So I really am enjoying this project, but as I said, I got set aside so that I could knit this shawl. And I'm working away on it, and I'm going to put in the lifelines now every maybe 10 or 15 rows. I mean, it'll be a lot of lifelines, but I think it's worth it. I only put the lifeline through the lace because I'll be able to pick these stitches up easily enough if the worst came to the worst, which I hope it won't. But it was just the lace section, and I have marked which row in the pattern that the lifeline is in so that I know which row I've gone back to, because even that, I'm not as proficient at reading lace as I would be with other patterns. So I'm really pleased with that. The rest of it's stocking stitch, so it's that part of it is mindless. I concentrate for my 36 stitches here, and then it's mindless again. And hopefully you'll see more progress on that later. I think that's really all I have. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed seeing all the knitting and all the goodies that are here at the moment that I can't wait to share with you. Don't forget the giveaway for the subscriber and birthday giveaway. Put your comments and below and answer the prompt if you wish about your dream knitting. It'll be lovely to see those. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, give it a thumbs up. If you want to hit the little bell button, it'll alert you to when I podcast again. Hopefully there'll be a coffee with Kate next week. And yeah, that's really it for today. Have a lovely weekend and enjoy your knitting, and I'll talk to you again very soon.